Hi everyone, my name is Tony Morris. I'm a Senior Regional Manager and my region is called the Mavericks. I'm going to tell you a bit about my journey. At the very beginning, why did I join and what made me climb the career plan, and how did I do it. So I'm hoping that some of the information I give you is going to help you progress in your business at whatever level that you are right now. One little piece of advice that I want to give you is don't look at other people and think that that's a million miles away from where you are, or that we've got like some special powers for us to achieve these things. That isn't the case at all. You just need determination and drive, and that goal inside of you that makes you want to get to where you want to be. So I've been with The Body Shop at home for 6 years now, over 6 years, and I always say to everybody, if it wasn't worth it, I won't still be here. I don't think I'm wet behind the ears. I found early on that there was a lot of potential in this business, and especially for the life that I had, it was very, very beneficial for me. So I joined right back in February 2014. I was recruited by another consultant at the time called Louise McKenna. She was building a team and wanting to be a manager. She asked me about 3 times. I wasn't a big buyer of Body Shop products. It wasn't something that I had a love for. I bought products in my teens, but then never again. It was only seeing her group that I bought a couple of products. But back then, I was a lonely stay-at-home mum. So I have 5 children. At the time, all of my children were under the age of 13. So my eldest was 13, I think, 13, and my youngest would have been about 1.5. She was 1 in the November, so she would have been about 15 months old at the time. I used to work part-time in my parents' shop, and then I started volunteering for other charities to keep something for me, to do something that I enjoyed. I was massively lonely. My husband worked full-time, long hours. I did the usual things that mums do, the after-school clubs, the sessions at school, the cleaning, the cooking, the ironing, the shopping, the activities, swimming, taking your kids doing things, and it was lonely. All of my friends had just about at that point just started having children, whereas I'd been a mum for a long time, and most of them worked as well, so they were working mums rather than stay-at-home mums. So I was really lonely, and there was what I used to do, and it's always stuck with me, because I'd been a mum, I was lonely and a little bit lost. My mum had passed away about 3 years prior to that, so I only really had my dad for support. Nobody helped me out with the kids. Ellen, who is my 3rd child, she is disabled, so getting a normal job was nigh on impossible. At the time, I would take Ellen to school, so I'd take the other children to school, then Ellen started at 9:30, so I would take her to school, and then the same when at the end of the day I'd go and pick my other children up, and then I'd have to drive and go and pick Ellen up. So we were restricted, and I had nobody really that could have the kids so that I could get a job. And Jason's job meant that he only got 19 days holiday a year, and a lot of those holidays were used for appointments. Ellen had a lot of hospital appointments and checkups, so somebody had to be at home with the kids whilst I took Ellen for her appointments. So at that time, what I found was it used to keep me happy and buzzing. I used to bake a lot of cakes, and I laugh about it because it's just so sad. When I think back, it's really sad, but I was looking for something to give me that buzz, something to make me feel good about myself, because I don't know about anybody else, but sometimes being a mum is a bit of a selfless act. You don't get a lot of recognition, you don't get a lot of appreciation. Your kids take you for granted. You know, you do what you can and they always push for more. And parenting's hard. It is really hard, and then trying to be a good wife as well was hard, and trying to keep my own sanity was really hard. So Body Shop was my saviour. And when I started, I was a very nervous consultant. I'd never done anything like this ever. I was encouraged to join by my husband. He said, no, you've got to do this. I think I was asked like 3 times, and he said, you've got to do this. You're not happy. And I wasn't happy. Obviously my kids didn't see that, but there was something missing inside of me. I tried to go and work in school volunteering, and it just wasn't for me. I didn't want to look after other people's children. It was hard enough with my own. But that was the only thing I could think that I could do around the kids, because you would start after the kids went to school and obviously finish just before school if you could. And I thought dinner lady. I was thinking of everything possible because I was lost. I didn't have a path. I was sort of like, I'm very visual, so in my mind I was just floating around. I didn't have a purpose other than being a mother, and it wasn't enough. So I joined the Body Shop at home, and I was very nervous, and we had to do parties back then. You had no choice, which I still think is a vital part of this business. You have to do parties to have a strong business. And even if it's only a small element is parties, and you do a lot on social media, or vice versa, you do a lot of parties and a small element of social media, but you do have to do both. I think it's really, really important that you've got a strong, stable business. But then you had to do parties. You had no option whatsoever. And I found them nerve-wracking, and I'm not going to lie. I left school with no qualifications. I didn't even sit my GCSEs because I didn't really attend school. So at the time when people build confidence, I struggled with that. I didn't have a massive amount of confidence. I was confident in my teens and early 20s when I was having my children. But then after I stopped working, I lost a lot of that confidence, and I was just having baby after baby after baby. And I probably, thinking back now, I probably suffered with a little bit of depression when Ellen was born, because she was born disabled, and it was like, what? It was like the biggest shock of my life. When you're younger, you think that you are indestructible, that nothing will ever touch you, that that doesn't happen to me. That won't happen to me, you just live in a bubble. And then when that happened to me at the time, it was the worst thing in the world. It was like I expected my first daughter, because that's what I wanted a girl, and I was lucky I got one. And my first daughter, I expected to do all the things that you would think that I did with my boys, and then it was a completely different world, and it knocked me for 6. And I do think I suffered with a bit of depression, but I never got help for it. I just cracked on and just got on with it and just put it to one side, which luckily for me, I have an ability to, things that I don't like, I stick in a box, I lock the key and I'll put it away, and I'll deal with you another time. So Body Shop was my saviour. But at the time it really didn't feel like it, because it gave me another way of being of emotion. So I was nervous, I was apprehensive, and I used to sweat like crazy, and I couldn't eat all day because I would be so nervous about doing parties. And then the money started coming in. So if you're a consultant now, you're probably experiencing that you think, oh, actually, this isn't that difficult. If I go and do a party and it takes me 2 to 3 hours, and I'm coming away with like 60 quid, and what that did for my family was unreal. So if I give you a bit of figures, we've got 5 kids, as I said, and we were Jason was earning about £2,000 a month, which for a family of 7 wasn't a massive amount of money when by the time I paid the mortgage and the bills, and we could live off it. And I'd be really stringent with shopping, so I'd buy all the smart price and really like the cheaper brands. I'd go to Aldi, I'd go to Asda and try and shop really sort of stringently, and I'd make big pots of food like casseroles and corned beef hash, and I'd try and keep the cost of my shopping right down. And then we were okay, but it was things like when the MOT was due, or something broke on the car, or the kids needed school shoes or school uniforms, or if we wanted to go away for a few days, like a haven holiday, or that was where we didn't have that spare cash. So a Body Shop came in handy for that. That's what it was. And when I saw that it was possible to do that and things got a little bit easier, I was thinking, this is good, this is really good. And my confidence then built. Now, another thing I'm going to say to you is the Body Shop at home now is a million times better than when I did it 6 years ago. And I will tell everybody that. The feel of it, the community, the support, the rewards, the career plan, the bonuses. You know, when you promoted back then, you didn't get the bonuses that you get now, these fast track bonuses, these title advancement bonuses, you didn't get any of that. So it is a million times better than it was when I joined. So if you're going to do anything, you want to do it now. That's my advice to you. And I was a consultant for a year, and I remember my first peak. So if you've not experienced peak yet, get ready for peak 2020, because my first peak as a consultant, on average, I was doing about £1,800 for the sales per month as a consultant. So I was earning, what's that, about £400 a week? No, £400 a month. Would have been nice, wouldn't it? About £400 a month, which was a lovely bonus. Some months I earned 300. Some months I earned 400. Sorry, some kids are eating in the kitchen. Some months I earned 400. But then in peak, I was doing £4,000 of personal sales in a month. So I was coming away with about £1,000, maybe a little bit more. This was a good business. That is when it twigged with me that this is the place to be. Even if I bob along for the rest of the year and hit it hard at peak, I knew what the potential was. And Christmas with a big family is not enjoyable. On a very low wage, it is not enjoyable. And I used to dread it. I used to clean for a little old lady. I would do anything to earn extra cash. And when I was earning £1,000 a month in peak, nothing went on the credit card. I just said to my husband at the time, you watch the kids, I'll do the parties. And yes, it was tiring. Yes, it felt like the months of September, October and November were just a haze, but the money was just going in the bank and we didn't have to worry at all. And that was a lovely feeling. Now, after my first peak, I knew then that this business was brilliant, and I went to conference in February 2015. I hadn't thought about recruiting. I had an upline and she wasn't the best, and we can all say I didn't have a very good business because my upline was pants. You know what? That wasn't the thing at all. The thing is that she made me feel like it wasn't to my advantage to recruit. It was actually to her advantage. So because it didn't feel like it was to my advantage, and I wasn't thinking, well, if I recruit, I'm going to get this or this, I was actually doing it for her. I didn't have anyone to do it. There was no pull. But I went to conference in 2015 as a consultant, and I sat there and I watched them do a talk on stage about building a team and being a manager, and that's when it twigged. That's when I saw that you could recruit one person and then they recruit somebody and then you recruit somebody else and then they bring someone on and then somebody else brings someone on, and the next minute you've got a team of 7. All you have to do is recruit 3 and then you've got a team of 7 and then you promote to an area manager. And I was like, well, what do I get for doing that? And then you earn 6% of the team sales. So I thought, So at the moment I'm doing 2 parties a week. Because my husband was working full-time and his job was pretty stressful, I couldn't really do more than that. I was doing 2 parties a week and then sort of like an event at weekend. So I'd be going and doing a stall or a fundraiser or something like that. So I thought, I can't do more parties. So my earnings are capped. But what I can do is, I can build a team and I can mentor a team and I can work when my husband's at work, and at the evenings we can just, when the kids are in bed, and I can double my income. So instead of me earning £300 or £400 a month as a consultant, I can now earn another £300 or £400 a month as a leader. Like, yeah, this is for me, this. So I went out of conference, I think it was like the 5th of Feb or 8th of Feb or something like that, and I built a team and promoted to area manager by the end of February. So I say to anybody, because I had no recruits, when you want to become a leader, the thing inside of you clicks, and when you want something enough, it doesn't have to take you 6 months. You can do it in a week if you want to, but it has to be whatever's inside of you. You've got to drive it. You've got to have that want and that desire. It has to be strong enough, and you can do it. And I know that because I did it. So I never tell people to do things unless I've done it myself or experienced it myself. So I know it's possible, and especially when I was starting from where I was with no recruits, it is 100% possible. So then I was a manager. In 2015, I was an area manager, and I had a small team of 10 or 12, and I loved it. I loved it. I loved mentoring a team. I loved helping other people achieve. I think that's one of the biggest buzzes about this business. Yeah, the money's lovely, but helping others grow a business and achieving nice things is way better than money, you know, which seems crazy to say that because money does make life so much easier, but you do get a bigger buzz from seeing other people achieve great, you know, what their goals are and what they're setting out to do. Now, in 2015, me and my husband separated, and I left and took the children and lived in rented accommodation. Things weren't great, but I carried on with my body shop at home business, and I bobbed along, didn't really grow it, didn't really progress. Times were tough. I was juggling 5 kids on my own. He had the children 1 night a week, and I was also trying to mentor a team and trying to keep my personal sales afloat as well, and it was tough. It was hard to do. You know, I imagine this business, you're juggling lots of balls. Some balls keep bobbing along, some balls might drop, and you've got to try and keep all the balls going, and I struggled that year, but I did it. And then after about 8 months, we got back together, and he said that the body shop at home was the reason why we were struggling. That wasn't the case, but I wanted to give my marriage the best possible chance. So I agreed to leave. Still area manager, I still had a nice team, but I agreed to walk away, and that was in the December of 2015. So I was leaving, and I rang Mandy Philpott and explained to her that I was leaving and that my time was now over, and I really enjoyed it, but I needed to give my marriage the best shot I could give it. And we had a chat, and then I had a bit of a think, and I thought, I'm going to end up back where I was before. I'm going to end up that lonely woman who was looking for something in her life that she couldn't find, that as much as I love my family, it just didn't fulfill. And I thought, I was unhappy. I seriously was unhappy, and I could not go back there. When I think about it now, you know, it was awful. It was not a nice experience, and I'd loved the time with the body shop at home. I'd been to places that, you know, we'd been on lifestyle events and balls and trips, and I thought, my alternative is that I'm back at home just doing the cooking and the cleaning and the ironing. Is that what my life amounted to? Is that all I'm worth, you know? So I stuck it out, and I decided I was going to stay. But if I was going to stay, I had to do it bigger and better, and I had to give it 1,000,000%. I mean, I hate saying 1,000,000% because it doesn't even exist, but you need to understand how much effort I put into it. And I just went hell for leather, and it all came down to recruiting. Sorry, one sec. Can somebody open the door for the dog, please, love? And it came down to recruiting, and it always does in this business. You know, introducing people to join. There is actually nobody in the kitchen that can open the door for the dog, but he's just gonna have to pee on the floor right now. I I stuck it out and I went hell for leather and I recruited like crazy and my business flourished. And it wasn't much harder. I did a lot of it online. I rang people. I did loads of training. Training's essential. You got to go to training. You've got to be putting on training for your team, your recruits. You need to be passing on your knowledge and sharing it. I knew how I wanted to grow my business and have wanted this loving community where people helped each other and shared. And I watched the Body Shop culture change, and it did. And it was a better place to be, and people were more supportive. And by the end of 2016, I'd gone from an area manager to an executive manager. And then by the end of July 2017, I was a regional manager. So that was that was 17 months of pure hard work, and the money that I earned in that time was unreal. And people will say, I've heard it loads of times, the Body Shop at Home's saturated, there's no space. No, there is. There is tons of space for more regional managers. There is tons of space for more promote outs. There is tons of space for more business. There is places that are untouched in this country, and now we have the opportunity to be touching America. So my advice to every single one of you is to go out and massively grab your piece of the business, whatever your goals may be, but don't sell yourself short. Don't convince yourself and make excuses that these things aren't possible, because truly they are 100% possible. But you've got to have that want inside of you. You've got to have that drive. My biggest tips for anybody is don't second guess yourself. Take the advice that's given to you. So you're not supposed to just know everything. You have got a support network. You've got the BI first and foremost, but you've got your uplines and you've got your regional manager and you've got your support. You go to them and you ask them what you need to do. What do I need to do? And they'll tell you, and then you need to go away. You need to implement what they say that you do. Don't go away and think about it. You need action. You need to do these things, and you need to do it consistently, and you need to do it day in, day out. So you don't just try something once and then it doesn't work and you don't do it again. You've got to keep going. You've got to think of many opportunities that you could expand your business. You need to think outside the box. I did everything. Anything you can possibly think of, I tried it. I tried recruiting in the streets. I went to play groups. I did events every weekend, school fairs, summer fairs, church fairs, charities, hospitals. I did everything. Why? Because the desire to succeed was stronger than the desire to go back to the life that I had before. And if I can tell anybody that my life now is unreal. And now me and my husband haven't lasted. We're now divorcing, so it was nothing to do with the Body Shop. This bettered our life. He didn't even have to work. He had the opportunity where he got made redundant and he didn't have to go back to work, and he could start his own business, and it still wasn't good enough. It wasn't come down to Body Shop. It came down to the fact that we just don't work, and he wasn't happy. But what I'm saying is that I'm a single mum with 5 kids. They all live with me. I can do things I never dreamed of before, and it was all down. And I think the day it was down to is when I decided to stick with this business in 2016 and say, you know what, if I'm going to stay, I'm going to do it my way. So what is the potential of earnings? Because I think that's really important. So currently, as a senior regional manager, I've now got 5 regional managers in my downline. 2 are central team, 2 are frontline, and then the rest are in other regional managers' businesses. So I'll name them because you might have heard of them. So I've got Denise Kelly and Louise McKenna. They're my central team regional managers. And then we have Annie Riley, who comes out of Louise McKenna. Then you've got Nicola Council, that comes out of Annie Riley. And then you've got Gemma Barker, that comes out of Louise McKenna as well. So I've got a fabulous business. I love them all. We're a great team. And last month my earnings were £9,600, and that is the potential of this business. I say last month, we haven't had April's pay slip yet, but in March I earned £9,600, and it's life changing. It is seriously life changing. So don't hold yourself back. Don't tell yourself you can't do something, because then you won't do it. Don't worry about what other people think. You know, don't worry. Don't let those demons tick away in your brain. Just go for it. Just do what you need to do to get to where you need to be, because this is your one life. I've lost two people that are so special to me, my aunt and my mum. So my mum, and then my aunt was my mum's sister, and they're my most favourite people in the whole world, and life was cut short for both. And I just think, you know, you just don't know what is around the corner. You don't know, and this is that one time that you get to live the life that you want to live it. Just make sure you're doing everything you can to live a good life. Don't struggle if you don't need to. Don't miss out on stuff. You know, you deserve it. There's nobody better than you, you know. And this business can give you that. You've just got to flip and go for it, and you've got to make the most of it, and you need to believe me, because the possibilities are there. So good luck to you all. I will look out for any promotions and notifications and everything else to see where you're doing and how you're getting on. But I wish you all the best. See you soon.